Fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day.
Once upon a time, if you were a brilliant young scientist with a dream, your compass didn't waver. It pointed to one place, America. It wasn't just a country, it was a promise. The labs were world-class, the funding's unmatched, and the spirit, bold, untamed, daring. If you wanted to cure disease, study the cosmos, or build the future, you went to the United States. That was the rule. That was the dream. Until now. Because now the labs are quieter. The funding is slower. The door is closing. In Bangalore, India, a city once called the Silicon Valley of the East, a professor named Raj Ladher recently sat with 30 of his top students. Bright minds. Ambitious hearts. The kind who usually end up in MIT, Harvard, Stanford. This time, only one had a confirmed opportunity in the US. Not because they lost hope, but because the message from America was crystal clear. Don't come. The numbers tell the same story. Over $3 billion in research grants pulled from Harvard. 2,000 staff laid off at Johns Hopkins after losing $800 million. The National Science Foundation, once the beating heart of global science funding, now crawling slower than it has since 1990. But numbers don't feel. People do. And the people in science are sounding the alarm. David W. Hogg, a physicist and data scientist at NYU, doesn't sugarcoat it. If this continues, American science is ruined. He's not talking about prestige. He's talking about survival. About what happens when a country builds walls around its most powerful engine, knowledge. It didn't begin with a single event. It was a slow bleed, a visa denial here, a research grant cut there. Then came the policies, sweeping bans on international students, funding freezes, bureaucratic mazes designed to make foreign scientists give up before they even begin. And all of it, wrapped in the language of nationalism. What was once the world's most welcoming lab became a locked room. And then, the ripple effect. In Germany, Professor Dirk Brockmann had planned to return to Northwestern University, where he once taught, to deliver a keynote lecture. It was to be part of a family trip, a return to a country that had once embraced him. He canceled, not because of science, but because of fear. His own country's foreign ministry had warned German citizens about traveling to the US after tourists were detained at the border. He said, "That was kind of a signal to me. I don't feel safe." Think about that. A world-class scientist, once embraced, now afraid to cross the same border where he once taught. At Harvard, students rallied. They waved flags. They held signs in support of their international classmates. But slogans and sympathy can't replace lost funding. They can't reopen sealed labs. They can't fix what fear has broken. There's a name for what's happening, though no one wants to say it. Scientific exile. And it's not just foreign scientists being turned away. It's American science being pushed out of the world. Wim Leemans, the director of a leading accelerator division in Germany and a dual US-Belgian citizen, put it bluntly. For many fields, the US is the crucial partner. If it retreats, the world suffers. Climate science, cancer research, artificial intelligence. These aren't national challenges. They're global. And when America turns inward, the whole planet pays. Once, the US led by example. In 1945, a presidential science advisor named Vannevar Bush laid out a vision in a now legendary document. Science, the Endless Frontier. It argued that welcoming foreign talent, even if they someday left, would always benefit America more than shutting them out. That vision built the empire. The Cold War was not won by weapons alone, but by minds, by the labs in Los Alamos, the telescopes in Hawaii, the microscopes in Boston, by the relentless belief that science should be bold, open, and shared. But today, that vision is collapsing under politics. And the vacuum isn't empty. Europe is stepping up. France has introduced new visa paths for researchers. Austria is hiring aggressively from Asian universities. In Bangalore, students who once dreamed of California now dream of Vienna. One graduate student on the verge of defending her thesis on cancer cell signaling. And that's what this is, a fall from grace. Not because the talent left, not because the ideas ran out, but because fear won. Because short-term politics silenced long-term vision. Because in Washington they decided that the world's best scientists were a threat, not an asset. What does it mean when a country stops believing in its own greatest strength? What does it mean when discovery is seen as danger? The world is watching. The world is adjusting. Labs that once built on U.S. cooperation are looking inward or to each other. The next vaccine might not be born in Baltimore, but in Berlin. The next AI breakthrough might not come from Silicon Valley, but from Seoul. The next cure for cancer might not be credited to the NIH, but to a small institute in Kyoto. Because science doesn't wait, discovery doesn't pause, and genius has no passport. The silence in America's labs isn't just budget cuts or empty hallways. It's a loss of faith, and not just from the outside, but from within. From the researchers wondering if they still belong, from students questioning whether their sacrifice is worth it, from families afraid their visa could vanish overnight. The most dangerous thing about this collapse? It's invisible to the public. There's no explosion, no scandal, just a slow dimming of the brightest light. One lab at a time, one scientist at a time. And yet, there's a bitter irony. Because in a world spinning with crises, pandemics, climate change, rising global tensions, we need science more than ever. But just as that need grows, the world's scientific superpower is turning off the lights. One has to wonder, what will history say? That a nation built on the shoulders of explorers and inventors abandoned its legacy? That fear drove policy, and policy drove talent away? That the greatest empire of knowledge quietly shut its doors? That the next chapter wasn't about decline, but redemption? That the labs reopened? That the minds returned? That the compass pointed back toward the dream? But for now, the silence remains, and the world looks elsewhere.